Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited to be here right now because I just filmed my very first YouTube video. So if you'd like to see how I created this look, just keep watching. Hi you guys, right now I'm using the Benefit Professional Matte Rescue Primer. I'm just rubbing this all over my face, making sure that my foundation has a good base. Now I'm going in and using my Smashbox Pore Minimizing Photo Finish Primer, and I'm going to be applying this all over the T of my nose where I know my pores are quite large. Going in with my favorite foundation, this is the Becca Ultimate Coverage Complexion Cream. I didn't realize I grabbed the wrong shade when I was doing this video, but we're just gonna work it out. It'll be okay in the end. So I'm just using my damp beauty blender to bounce out all of my foundation. Make sure that you are getting your beauty blender wet before your makeup. This is just going to ensure that your foundation is going to blend out flawlessly and isn't going to stay attached to the beauty blender. The next step is to go in and conceal and highlight. I'm taking my LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Porcelain, and I'm going in a triangle motion underneath my eyes. This will make sure that it pulls up my cheeks and really highlights underneath that eye. I also use this concealer as a primer for my eyelids. That way my eyeshadow has something to stick to and it's covering up any discoloration or redness that I do have in my eyelids. Now I'm going in again with my damp beauty blender and I'm just blending out all of that concealer, making sure that we have no harsh lines and it's not going to be creasing. Going back in with my LA Girl concealer, I'm going to be highlighting my forehead and my chin, and then a little bit around my nose because I do have some redness there. Now we're going in and we're setting with the LA Girl Pro Powder in the shade Banana with a big fluffy setting brush. I always tap a little into the lid and then go in and set all of that concealer. This is a really important step. You don't want that concealer moving all over the place or creasing underneath your eyes, so you always want to make sure that you're setting that concealer. Now we're going to go in with a big fluffy powder brush and my CoverGirl loose powder. This is my favorite powder for setting my face. I always tap a little into the lid, swirl my brush around, and then I'll go in and press it into my skin. The reason why I don't buff it into my skin is I really don't want to disturb any of that foundation underneath. You want to press it in, making sure that that foundation is sinking in and staying all day long. Moving on to contouring, I'm going in with my Too Faced Cocoa Contour Kit in the medium cocoa with a Morphe PK4 brush. This is an angled fluffy contour brush. And I'm just going to be putting this right above the hollows of my cheeks to really carve out and create a nice shadow to slim out my face a bit. Using that same contour kit and a Morphe E41, we're going to bronze up the rest of our face. I'm using the color Dark Cocoa. It's a little bit more of a warm toned bronzer. So I just start on my forehead and work it throughout the rest of my face. Now going in with my LA Girl Pro Powder again, I'm going to tap some into the lid, grab my Beauty Blender, and we're going to apply it just underneath our contour. This is going to chisel out that contour and make it very, very vavoom. We're just gonna let that sit there and bake for a moment. That way we can finish the rest of our face and we will buff it out in the end. Now going in with a fluffy crease brush, I'm going to be contouring out my nose. Using that Too Faced Cocoa Contour Kit in the Dark Cocoa shade, I'm just going on the edges of my bone, bringing it more towards the center of my nose to really snatch up that nose. Be sure to connect to the edges of your eyebrow. That way it gives it a little bit more of a natural look and doesn't look like it's contoured. So now to blend it out, I just go back and forth sideways, making sure that there is no harsh lines and it doesn't look like we are trying too hard to make our nose look slimmer. Moving on to blush, I'm using the Wet n Wild in Mellow Wine with a Morphe PK14 brush. This is just a fluffy blush brush. It's one of my absolute favorites for applying blush. I'm just applying on the apples of my cheeks and then drawing it back towards my temple. Now going back in with that fluffy foundation brush, I'm brushing out that banana powder that we had laid down to chisel out our contour. So I did go ahead and fill in my eyebrows off camera. I'm going in with my Dare to Create palette and one of those light brown transition shades with my E28 brush. This is just a nice fluffy transition brush. We're going to be working this into the crease, kind of blowing it out a little bit, creating a very nice transition for the rest of the eyeshadows. Using that same Dare to Create palette, I'm picking up a darker brown color on a dense crease brush, and I'm just brushing it onto my lower lid and staying very, very low on the crease, moving back and forth, really laying down that color on the outside of my corner of my eye, and then bringing it up into the crease once most of my product is off. Now going back in with my E28 brush, I'm just blending out that color, making sure there's no harsh lines, and we're going to have a good transition. Make sure when you are blending you have a very, very light hand. You don't want to be dragging any of the other colors around. Going in, still using that Dare to Create palette with a more warmer brown, I'm using an RG18, which is a smaller, more dense and precise brush. I'm moving back and forth on that lower lid, staying very, very low on my crease, building up that outer corner. Sorry about that, I just couldn't resist. So going back in, deepening up that outer corner, and once you have most of the pigment on that outer part, you're going to drag it up into the crease, making a windshield wiper motion just back and forth. Right here, I'm bringing some pigment to the inner corner of my eye. We're going to be creating kind of a halo effect. I ended up just finishing the other eye off camera. Now I'm taking a flat eyeshadow packing brush and applying some of my LA Girl concealer to the center of my eyelid. That way we can cut out that part, and it's really going to make these shimmers that we're going to apply pop really well and stand out. Don't worry too much about it being too messy. We're going to blend it out afterwards anyway. We just want a clean base for the pigments that we're going to be laying down. Now going in with our Morphe 350 palette and a flat eyeshadow brush, I'm packing this shimmer color onto that concealer that we just laid down. This is going to give our glitter a nice base as well. So right here, I start to blend out the outer edges of that shimmer shade we just put down by just bouncing back and forth on that outer edge. Now I'm going above in the crease using a very, very light hand and just doing a windshield wiper motion to make sure that that line isn't super, super harsh and you still have that halo effect. Now going in with a fluffy blending brush, I'm just blending out that outer edge, making sure that we don't have any super harsh lines and that there's not a super huge contrast between the color and your brow bone. Finally, the step that's going to make this eye look pop, I'm using my Stila Glitter and Glow Liquid Eyeshadow in the shade Kitten Karma, and I'm just using my finger and packing it on top of that shimmer color. So right here, I'm going back in with my Morphe RG18 and just blending out that very edge with whatever leftover product was still on the brush. Oh snap, girl. So right here, I just did my lashes and liner off camera, and I'm now going in to put shadow under my waterline using those same transition shades that we put into the crease on an angled brush by Morphe. It is the PK45 brush. Using this Wonder Pencil by NYX, I'm just going to put this in the waterline. This is just a very nice nude eyeliner to make sure that you're not closing off of your eye. It just keeps it looking very bright and awake and beautiful. Now moving on to highlighting, I'm going to be using my Pure Cosmetics Bronze and Brighten palette. Unfortunately, this is the last step in my video because my camera died, but I'm using my Morphe E19 brush, going in with this center shade called Afterglow. It is the most blinding and brightening highlight I have ever used. I love it so much. So I'm just putting that shade into the tear duct of my eyes. And then after that, I'm going to highlight under my brow and really make that brow bone pop. So the liquid lipsticks that I used were the Kat Von D in Lolita, and I put the Stila Stay All Day in Patina just on the very center of my lips. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you guys so much. Thank you for all of your love and support. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.